Hi, everybody. Welcome to 2021. It's good to be back with you. I hope you had a great Christmas and a great New Year's. And to sort of wrap up the Christmas and New Year season and look forward to 2021, I'd like to share with you the Christmas story that I think is most relevant and appropriate for us in this upcoming year, besides the story of Jesus the Messiah coming himself. Because 2020 was a hard year. I think we could all agree on that. But we all make an assumption that 2021 has got to be better. But that's not always going to be true. I think in many ways, 2021 has already started off to a rough year. COVID cases and deaths in America are reaching record levels. We're still having such political turmoil. We're only a week or two into 2021. So even though we make assumptions at times, and sometimes they work out, they don't always happen like we assume they happen. So what do we do? What do we do as followers of Jesus when life doesn't go our way? When our prayers don't seem to go answered? When a life seems to be increasingly more difficult or potentially, but for sure, uncertain? And so I think that's what we can really look to in 2021 is there is a lot of uncertainty. When will you get a vaccine? Will there be a better vaccine? What will it be like politically this year? What will it be like for us as families, as parents, as sons and daughters this year? What will our jobs be like this year? When will we go back to doing more things in person this year? Will I get sick or not? And if I do, what will it mean for me and my loved ones? There's so many things that are actually very, very uncertain as we begin this year. There's probably more uncertainty in January of 2021 than there was in January of 2020. And look what happened. So while we assume this year could and should be better than last year, it's not always a given. So what do you do when you look to the future, trying to look with hope, but at the same time with so much uncertainty and with so many challenges around us? I think one of the things that we have to remember is the need for patience and perseverance mixed in with our faith, that faith implies that we will patiently wait for God, that faith implies we patiently have hope for the future. And there's no better story in sort of some of the Christmas stories or Jesus's childhood stories that teach us about patience than the story in Luke chapter 2 and the story of Simeon. I'm going to read for you. This is out of Luke chapter 2, starting in verse 25. It says this: Now there was a man in Jerusalem named Simeon, who was righteous and devout. He was waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was on him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not die before he had seen the Lord's Messiah. Now, moved by the Spirit, he went into the temple courts. When the parents brought in the child Jesus to do for him what was custom of the law required, Simeon took him in his arms, praised God, and he said, Sovereign Lord, as you have promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations, a light of revelation for the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel. What I love about the story isn't just that Simeon waited, but that God revealed to him when it was time to see that his waiting was worth it. That even on that day when he held the baby Messiah, the baby Jesus, that God prompted him to go up to the temple, that it was time to show that patience pays off. When you trust in God and rely on God, it will pay off. We don't know how soon, but we definitely know that the longest we would have to wait is eternity to find out that patience and waiting on God will pay off. And there are other moments in our lives where we get to experience it much sooner. And I hope as we go throughout 2021, we could remember this story that Simeon modeled for us, that it's never a poor decision to wait on God. It's never a bad choice to be patient for God to fulfill his promises. And as we encounter this year together, knowing that this year, the only thing certain about this year is it will be full of uncertainties. I hope you could remember the importance of patience and how patience on God actually helps us to experience God's promises more than rushing ahead of God when it's simply time to trust and to wait. We continue to pray for you and trust and wait on God to see his plans for us during this year. God bless.